Okay, so Tetare, welcome to Mexico.
Thank you.
And tell us about your platform. How does it work? What do you do?
So, based on 20 years of research done by two of the top world-renowned mathematicians, Tetare has created an end-to-end platform, a big data analytics platform, that is able to take any set of structured or semi-structured data from any data source, put it all together, and run it through a set of algorithms that are able to detect very high accuracy and a very high speed and automatically mathematical anomalies that are indicative of fraud, money laundering, ATM attacks, machine malfunctions, all kind of different things that we've done. Insurance fraud, pretty much in every industry that's possible.
Okay, so taking a country like Mexico, when a lot of companies do their data in Excel,
yes,
and the systems are not that sophisticated.
Yeah.
Can you still work with these kind of countries?
Yeah. So even if the data is in Excel, it's fine. We actually take the data as the structured data. So actually, Excel is actually structured. It's very easy for us to take it. But the legacy systems are everywhere. It's not just in Mexico. In every single country that we go into. All the banks, all the companies, they all work in very old systems that are all based on rules. Okay. And the problem is the rules, they're only as smart as the people that write the rules. And I'm not saying there's not smart people in Mexico, but the problem is they're not detecting the things that they don't know about. So how do you find the unknown unknowns? How do you find the things that you don't know what you're looking for? And that's what Diario does. How do you find the blind spots? How do you find the next ATM attack that's going to happen in Mexico? How do you find the next big money laundering HSBC?
That doesn't happen in Mexico.
No.
Okay, so what would be your ideal client in Mexico?
So we already have clients in Mexico. We're already working with two of the top 5 banks here in Mexico. We have a global agreement with them. We're already working with them for money laundering and fraud and ATM. Ideally, what the focus of the company today are financial institutions and insurance companies. But not to say the least, General Electric is an investor in the company, and therefore there is some focus on industrial infrastructure, where we go into industrial companies and we help them, whether it's in operational malfunctions, whether it's efficiency in their operating behaviors of the machines, finding all kinds of inconsistencies that are going on. And this can be for good or bad, right? So even in a bank, when I go in, when I know to find all the bad people, I know to find the good people. And because I know to find the good people, the banks and the companies are able to create a better customer service experience for you.
Okay. Can you name an example of?
So I can name. There's some banks.
I'm sure
there's some banks that have gone public with us, and those are the ones that I can name. Unfortunately, the other ones, they like to not name because they don't like saying who and what they're using for technology to prevent fraud. One of the banks that went public with using our solution was ABN AMRO in the Netherlands. It was very public actually. It happened a month ago. We actually went against 5 different solutions to help them lower their false positive rates, increase their efficiency, and also basically find money laundering that they were unable to find. And out of the 5 that they tested us, we actually came on top. We won. We took the deal. And again, it was because we work. So all the other 4 companies, I'm not saying that they're not good, but they're good in theory. So the differences between Tetare and other companies is we not only have the person, the actual founder that wrote the theories of unsupervised machine learning and clustering algorithms, but we also have the professor that was able to take these algorithms and make them operationalizable and workable in companies. And that's what the other companies don't have. That's our really secret.
Okay, and to finish the conversation, what could you tell us about Israel in the context of the fintech industry, Israel, in a more macro level?
Yeah, so I mean, Israel, one of the reasons that Israel is doing so well and there's so many great ideas that are coming out of Israel is really the struggle, right? It's a country that lives in struggle constantly. I grew up half of my life there. You sit in a country that's in the desert and really surrounded by countries that all they want to do is really demolish them and annihilate them. And out of that struggle and fear that you live in, you really want a better place for yourself. and a better place to do something. And from that fear and from that struggle come amazing ideas. I also heard that Mexico now is starting to have a very big startup hub, and I believe it's also because of struggle. Whether it's economic struggle or whether it's terrorism, whatever it is, that struggle, there's always, they say from destruction comes creation. And I think that's really what happens, right? So you have this struggle that's constantly going on, and that's why people always want to do better. They want to get out of the struggle. They want to go to a better place. Therefore, they come up with ideas. How can we be more efficient? How can we better what we're doing? And Israel has done that for itself, not only for other countries in the world, but if we're talking about projects like the Iron Dome, right, to protecting itself, or to the irrigation systems that are coming out of Israel now, because we're a desert, we don't have water. So how do you build facilities that are able to take water from the ocean and turn it into drinking water? So all these things are they come out. Some of them come out to help the country, but some of them are also for a macro level. How do we better the world, right? And that's really what Federa is trying to do. We're trying to better the world using data. How do you find, one of the things that we're doing, in another country is trying to solve the problem of human trafficking. And that's a big problem in Mexico, huge problem. The problem is when they actually do human trafficking, and when you try and solve today the problem, is you really, you might find one of the traffickers. You're not solving the problem. But if you can solve and find the money trail and stop the money before it reaches to the right people, then you stop it. And those are the kinds of things that we're trying to do and helping the world using data.
That's great.
Just one question.
Yeah.
Just going there. You talk about tracking the money, the bad money. Does this technology uses also for terrorist money and?
Yes. So we've actually had multiple use cases that we've done in Europe where we've actually found terrorist financing, verified terrorist financing by global banks that they didn't know about. The problem is when the regulator finds out about that, when it's money laundering, pure money laundering, and the regulator finds out, it's like what happened with HSBC, where they just get a slap on the wrist, $1.9 billion. It's not a slap, but for them it was.
Right.
But they get a slap on the wrist and nothing happens. Nobody went to jail.
Right.
But if it's terrorist financing, somebody's going to jail. And it's not going to be, two people from the regulator that are coming. It's going to be two people with a black suit, and saying, come with us, you're going to jail. That's the difference. So terrorist financing is really why people don't sleep at night. And we do find it. You wouldn't believe the things. The stories are insane. Really, really. People that, have been regular clients of the banks for years, and suddenly something switches. And now they're doing all kind of fishy behavior in the bank. And the bank doesn't know about it because they know the rules. And if you know the rules, I can stay underneath them.
Yeah,
and I'll never find
the system.
Yeah, so they know how to manipulate the system. And what really, I explained this in another presentation, but if you think about it, the companies really, what they do is, there's bad actors, fraudsters, whether it's money laundering or fraud or ATM attacks, they do something. Then the bank, understands that something happened and they block it. But meanwhile, while they're finding the block for it, they're already gone here. And they've done something new. And what happens is you have a delta, and that delta, that's what we're closing. So we're finding it faster, automatic, and we're helping the banks detect it much earlier, reducing the risk, reducing the loss, and allowing them to actually see the data and actually understand analytics that only a machine can read. So, humans can't go through billions and billions of transactions. It's just impossible.
And for the regular public, what does this technology helps?
How does it help the regular?
People.
I'll give you an example. We did a use case for an insurance company here in Mexico for fraud. We actually detected a lot of fraud for them, but one of the things of what we did, and that goes back to what I said before, as we found all the people that did fraud, we know all the people that are okay, that are good, and the company was able to understand and approve claims in minutes instead of a month. So now you have an insurance company that if you file a claim, you can actually in minutes get your money, and not in a month. They have to investigate and go through. So you're creating operational efficiencies for the customers, right? Plus you're keeping them secure, right? Even in fraud, right? The only way sometimes the bank knows that the fraud happened is if the customer calls them and says to them there was fraud. The bank doesn't want that to happen, and the customer definitely doesn't want that to happen. So if you can detect that before that happens, before it goes to the customer, then you create a much better experience for the customers.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. All right.